All right. Ready? Ready? Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's start. Today, how is it today, diving wise? Like, conditions better than the first day.
Yeah.
Yeah, today it's more like normal condition, like flat, completely flat.
Were you diving?
I was diving.
Oh.
I was diving. No, it's... All right. Today we will go through mental techniques. We'll do some techniques for our mind, but as well we'll have a Q&A, and even before we start doing exercises, I will talk about what can be affecting your dives. What, like, not immediately before the dive, like 5 minutes before the dive, but in general, starting like a day before, a week before, a month before. So like approaching some dives where you might feel anxiety, might feel stress, and might feel some tension, because there was in so many reasons in freediving to have this, like all these different hurdles and feel anxiety or something, right? Who feels there is a bit of, like, if you want to do a deepest dive in certain discipline, do you feel stressed? Do you feel some tension? Yeah. And it's normal because it's breath hold, plus it's depth, plus it's compression, plus CO2, so it's a lot of things combined, right? It's a lot of things. So it's totally normal. And let's start from a period where you have time to prepare, you have a few weeks or months to prepare for a dive, and if you can plan it in advance. Sometimes we don't, sometimes we just show up in the event and maybe you didn't have time to prepare. But if you want to prepare in the best possible way, then you can already start thinking about what was the most difficult part last time you were diving. Was it equalization? Was it like compression? Was it being unsure of your ability to swim up, get up, like unsure of your technique, if you have enough strength in your legs to kick, or like in no fins, right? So if you think about, if you write notes during this deep week, and you know very specifically what scares you the most, what is it that makes you the most unsure, then you will know how to build your training between the events. And long term, like there is something you do in the short term. Short term before the dive, we can work with our breathing, we can work with our attention, we will do the body scan, we'll do the attention to concentration. So all these techniques, they help. If you become better and better with these techniques, you will be less affected by something stressful. But then there is another long-term approach where if you know what is it that really hard for you, then you build your training around these topics. And the goal is that next time you show up, you really feel confident. You need to build this trust, right? And if you break trust into 3 different areas, there should be trust in your own abilities, trust in yourself. That's something you want to build, right? And when you come to freediving as a beginner, you don't really have much trust in yourself, right? People a lot of the time think it's impossible to hold your breath for a minute, right? Or like if you ask someone who never tried freediving, so there is like zero trust in your abilities. Naturally, you never tried. Then you progress. You can do 2 minutes, 3 minutes, but it's still the same approach, because if you want to progress and add another minute or add more depth, you should have reasons, like something that really makes you feel like you can do this. And what is it that make you feel that you can do this? It's not something, you cannot really solve for this only with mental techniques. So they help. It's important part of preparation, important part of managing your thoughts and where is your attention during the dive. But you can build this foundation only during the repetitions, training, addressing, like if it's equalization, you do equalization exercises 10 times, and if you practice 10 times, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, you will have this belief, you're better with it. And if you're stuck or you're unsure, like then you have some guidance, some help from coaches, but you need the volume, right? There's no way around building this foundation with the volume, minutes or meters if you swim, and then you should feel like you have it in you, like you are stronger in this particular technique, equalization. Or in freediving we need to feel confidence. If you take depth freediving with equalization, you need to feel confidence that you can cover this distance, like this meters. If it's 20 meters, 30 meters, you want to be very confident with the double distance in the pool, do it several times, and you just should not think about it at all. Like, okay, I have this technique, I can kick fins any style, and I don't think about distance at all. I can swim, I can get back up, right? You'll build this foundation only by doing these repetitions, and you can build it as well in open water, but it'll take longer. It'll be a bit less. You'll have less assurance, You'll be a little bit less trust in yourself. But if you in the pool you have this even a reserve like extra meters. You want to do 50 meters at depth, but in the pool you progress to 150. If you do 150 meters in the pool, then you will not even think about this depth. You're like, okay, it's easy. You'll think it's easy, right? So there's this long-term approach, and this is really helpful mentally, very much. And we can sort of like sometimes I can see like that people skip it, don't do it enough, and then it's just harder. It's just much harder to progress when you're already here, right? And trying to fix things with relaxing better. Like relaxing better helps, but it doesn't solve everything. You cannot imagine better technique, right? You need to have it. And then not only have it, but also feel that it's there, it's consistent, it will not change when you swim, and you just trust your abilities, right? So this area of trust, your own abilities, you need to build it. And it's a few areas: equalization, technique, compression as well. So being aware of the breathing muscles, doing enough breath work a few times a week. It doesn't need to be every day, but focusing on the diaphragm, on the intercostal muscles, shoulder blade area, just being more aware of breathing muscles helps, because then you will feel pressure. It will be nicer. You want to feel pressure as something nice, like something compressing you, and you enjoy this compression, and it's something you can even think about it in different ways. It can be pressure, like of the ocean that gently compresses you. So you can think of something romantic image, it helps you. Like who feels the pressure and it feels nice? Is there anyone who feels it nice? Okay, good.
It's like a hug.
It's like a hug, yeah, it's like a hug. You want to feel like a hug, like a pet. You have a pet, and it's on your chest. You're like, oh, this is my cat or my dog, and you're like it's heavy. So this image helps a lot, and because as soon as we have even this little resistance, and it might not be really visible, it may be like half centimeter, like pushed back somewhere in the chest. It's like if you focus on the chest, upper part of the chest, it's usually somewhere here. If there's a tiny push back, that makes the dive so much harder, because you have muscle tone, and then you don't give up to the pressure, you don't allow it to compress you. Blood shift is not great. It's just you will feel that you spend much more energy. You will feel like incompressible. If you let it go, you'll be compressed. It will be no pain, no discomfort. Like for me, when I dive, I give up, and there is no pain at any depth. 100 meters, 130 meters, there's no pain. It's harder to maintain the focus and attention and just be efficient with the body position. If you free fall and there's a bit of current, if you free fall a lot, then it's just too long, and if there's a current, you might balance your body with your fins or with your arms, and then you can get a bit of tension because of this balancing, right? If it's the first 20, 30, 40 meters, it's not as long of free fall, and you don't need the perfect streamline position, right? It's in professional sport when you try to be faster because it just takes so long, but when you do it for pleasure, for like progress, but it doesn't take too long to free fall, you can just free fall like that, and it doesn't be ideal. Like you try to have a posture, but we don't want to be super tight, right? Okay, so that's equalization, technique, chest is very important, and to progress with chest, what can you do? You can, if you get ready for depth, you can do empty lung exercises. Full exhale, get comfortable with empty lungs, and it's uncomfortable because if you exhale fully, you have this vacuum, and the stretch on the throat, it's so uncomfortable. It's really uncomfortable. And with more repetitions, like even with a couple of training, within one session you'll feel a change, right? If you do 10 sessions, empty lung breath holds, not for time, not trying to do the longest breath hold on empty lungs, but to have nicer sensations. then that will help you with depth, right? Let's try the empty lungs, just quickly, to see how it feels. Because I think this is the key. Like equalization, we will not do equalization here. We'll do some body scan and attention to concentration. But empty lungs is it's really, really important. So if you have equalization, if you have technique, if you can give up to the pressure, it pretty much covers it all. Then there is something in the area of fears. Maybe you were afraid of darkness, or just, is there anyone who have fear or experience from childhood drowning and just general water fear? No, anyone? No. Sometimes we actually have quite a lot of people who come to do freediving having this negative experience in childhood.
Oh. I was afraid of water.
Afraid of water, yeah. Afraid of water. So you can be afraid of darkness, afraid of some sea animals, and that's normal. When I was starting freediving, I remember in Dahab, you go outside of the reef. Inside of the blue hole in Dahab, it's 90 meters, 90, 93. Outside of the reef, it's immediately 100, like 50 to 100, 300. It's really deep, really fast. And even though I was swimming all my life, I was comfortable in the pool. I saw this darkness, and I was imagining these monsters and like giant squids or something. I felt a bit afraid. I didn't. And one time, in being comfortable with the environment is another area, right? Having trust in your own abilities, that's one. You need to build it, and trusting environment that affects your performance a lot. You can be really strong freediver in one environment, but then you travel. It's different surface conditions. It's different current or no current, color of the water, particles, and thermocline, and it's all different, right? So, given a few days to adjust to this new environment is very important. It's like psychological adaptation. You adapt to this new environment, and then you'll be able to relax. Like I was one competition in Mexico some years ago, like 7 years ago, in Sea of Cortez on this Pacific side, and orcas were there. So we didn't see them next to the rope, but when we were going out for competition, everybody saw these orcas around. So when I was diving the first day, there was a lot of small jellyfishes, no stingy, but it was like diving 20 meters, all fine, but then after 20 meters you go in this soup of jellyfishes. So that was unusual, that was not pleasant. And then you don't see much, it's like a little bit blurry. And then 100 meters, I felt like a little worm on the hook. Like, okay, I'm 100 meters, there's some orcas around, I better swim back fast. I was swimming fast, I was like, okay, what if they're around somewhere, right? So I was sprinting. I wasn't comfortable. But then 3 days, 4 days later, nothing happens, no orcas, nobody come, so I just relax. And just time, like adaptation, right? Yeah. So diving, what helps here is being aware of this, not pushing in your first days, not here conditions are great. But if you travel, if you're somewhere in a new environment, it's cold, it's lake, it's negative, more negative, like you're more negative in the lake, so it'll be much harder to come back up if you dive in fresh water. So being aware of all the details and know that they will affect your mental state, right? It will be something new, and it will make it tense as well. And give yourself a few days to adapt. Start with something safe. Usually it's 50% of your depth, and give yourself time to adapt. Yeah, another Mexican story. I was diving in cenote, in the new cenotes, and it's one in the bay close to Chetumal, and it's like deepest cenotes in the world right now, 400 meters, 400 something, and it's not in the jungles, it's in the bay, and the bay is huge. It's like a sea. You don't see the bay. It's like you're in the sea, but it's very shallow, 2 meters, 5 meters, and almost no waves. Some waves, but no waves to go through. But sand. I think the top of the cenote just crashed a few years ago. So before there was no cenote, and now it's crashed, and then there's the cenote. So, and then sand is pushed in it, and the free fall was scary because I was very tense on the free fall, because you free fall, and the light, I have a light, and you can see the visibility is like 50 meters, it's all blue, and then you turn a little bit, and there's a cloud of something, maybe it's sulfur, maybe it's sand, next to you, and it's like right in front of you, something that light just stopped by this cloud or something. Like, what is that? Is it a rock? Is it what? I knew it's some sort of cloud, but it felt super scary. Like, it was in August, like a month ago. So And I got a little bit of stiffness, and it was not an easy experience. Right. So environment, being aware of that, and then affects your mind a lot. Right. And it's okay. It's okay. You just need to study what's going on, what is the temperature, what is the thermocline, what is the buoyancy, and get used to it, because obviously a few days to get used to it. Okay, that's the second part. And the third part is the team, and understanding that somebody who provides safety to you, like coaches or buddies, like other trips, whatever, you plan to dive, you always want to understand that you have a team that will take care of you, right? Freedivers, professional freedivers would risk in competitions, right? Whereas like all this 10 safety divers around, and dive eye, and sonar, and oxygen, and doctors. So you can risk there because you know that a lot of people who will take care of you. If it's just one safety, then I wouldn't dive my 100% max with one safety. Like it should be like a team of 3 or 4, oxygen, etc., and preferably not the buoy. And so that's if you think about top performance. If you still like you didn't hit yet hypoxic limit. Like I don't think we can expect hypoxic limit in the range of 30-40 meters unless you're really rushing, and it's no fins is tricky. No fins takes a lot of energy, but yeah, usually it's deeper than 50. Let's say before 50, it's fine. It's all safe. It's more getting adapted to the depth. But if we talk about deeper dives, 70, 80, 90, 100, then you want to understand the setup, and that makes you relaxed as well, right? You might not think about it yet, but yeah, you will think about it more the deeper you dive. And also just maybe something that helps you now is realizing that actually maybe one of the reasons being tense is you are just in general a bit scared or tense, or because of being unsure as well, or not thinking enough that there is actual safety, there is actual instructor who will dive and meet you and make sure that you're safe. And if you think about that, okay, there is someone who will take care of me, and then you're more relaxed. So you can just think about that as well. So that's the third area, right? Trusting yourself, trusting your environment, and trusting your team. Okay, so these three like important parts. Okay, let's go back to ourselves, our skills, and let's do empty lungs and see how, not for time, but just to understand how do you feel. Can you feel relaxation? And this stretch might cause like tension and a very, very strong urge to breathe. Similar thing can happen at depth, right? If you feel compression, you feel the stretch on the vocal folds, like your larynx will pull down, you will feel tension. So the idea is with empty lungs to feel the stretch and allow the stretch to happen, become better with it, but also just roll your shoulders a little bit. And if you feel the stretch with open chest, you can roll your shoulders, lower your ribs, and feel that it's nicer, easier, negative pressure. Okay, let's try. Let's do a few preparation cycles. Inhale, exhale, slow inhale, slow exhale. Time. Let's do a few more. And for the first breath hold, we'll do just one deep exhale while you compress your rib cage, roll your shoulders. You can help with your arms, like squeeze your arms, elbows. And then you hold your breath, and we get back to the neutral position. Okay, inhale, exhale, let's start. Hold your breath, get back to the neutral position, and feel this negative pressure. Stretch your neck a little bit. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed. And lower your larynx. Try to give up to this pull, like don't hold your larynx. When you want to breathe, inhale, and a few recovery breaths. All right, let's repeat. repeat one more. So the goal will be to do full exhale, again, squeezing as much air out as possible. Then you get back to neutral position, but you don't open your chest too much. Neutral, shoulders forward, rib cage, ribs down, and see how, if you have any pull on your diaphragm, if it feels like there's a bit of vacuum to pull your diaphragm up, and then think about the goddess. Then you want to let go, feel the pull, and allow your larynx to be pulled down. So this area, like allow this to be pulled down. Let's do a couple inhales, exhales. Okay, let's do inhale, exhale, and start. Hold the breath, neutral position. And pay attention to your chest. You can do gentle stretches, gentle neck stretches, rib cage stretch, one side, another side. And when you want to breathe, purse your lips to inhale slowly. Okay. Who feels that it's really uncomfortable? Like anyone? Anyone? Okay, some. Okay, really uncomfortable. Good. So you have a lot. If you fix that, it will be so much easier.
Yeah, it feels like the stress I feel on my dives is the stress that I just felt now. Like the reason that I turn early is this feeling.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to see that.
This is one of the most important exercises, I would say. When you get close to your residual volume, and it can be 20 meters, can be 30 meters, depending on your lung size and elasticity, you will feel something like that at 20, 30 if you have a bit of attention. If you give up and relax, it will feel nicer. And the transition from your lungs not being compressed all the way to the residual volume, and then deeper than that, should be very smooth. If it's something that you feel like it's something sudden, it's all fine, and like all of a sudden you want to stop and you want to turn, that's rib cage and breathing muscles, diaphragm, and better awareness of this area, better control of this area will help. And like a good example would be that we want to do the body scan regularly. We know that we need to equalize our ears every meter, often, and also in advance, before we feel pain, right? Same applies to your chest. With the chest, we don't react, we don't try to relax when we feel pressure. That's too late already. So if you want to stop feeling pressure on your chest when you dive, on the way down, every 5 meters, you don't need to do every meter, but every 5 meters, after you do your duck dive, first 5 meters, you equalize, then you check your chest, lower shoulders. This one very small movement, 1 centimeter, will make a huge difference. And then after 10 meters, you repeat and do the same. After 15 meters. So doing these body scans regularly, every 5 meters, like you want to make it a habit. And pay attention, not only to the equalization, okay? Let's do third one. And let's do every 5 seconds, do a body scan. Check your rib cage, shoulders. You can have gentle stretches. These gentle stretches, just like a very small stretch of your intercostal muscles will help you to feel this area better, right? So it doesn't need to be a big stretch. Before the dive as well, if you want to feel the breathing muscles better, you can inhale, hold the breath, and have little stretches of the breathing muscles, and then dive. So before the dive, like a minute before. Let's actually do this stretch, a gentle stretch to feel the breathing muscles better, and then do the breath hold. So let's do that. Inhale. With inhale, we'll hold our breath. Hold the breath. And open your rib cage as much as possible. And then move this air portion as low as possible. So you let go and lower your rib cage. Open. lower. And you move your air bubble up and down a few times. One breath hold, and you try to increase range of motion.
If I feel like fainting, should I take a smaller breath?
Smaller. If you feel like fainting, if you're in a sitting position, it's usually better. If you're standing, if you do the standing, you can really black out. It's like it's, what helps, it's a bigger pressure on your heart. But as a freedivers, we want to become better resisting this. Like our intercostal pressure increases when we go down. And what helps is doing top-ups. You can start, if anyone feels like it's hard, do a half inhale first and hold your breath for 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Then when CO2 elevates a little bit, then you can safely top up. Like you can have second top up, third top up. So if you feel like dizzy on the first full inhale, you will not be dizzy if it's 3 steps, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, let's do full exhale. So full exhale with a bit of stretches. So we'll do exhale and do dynamic stretches. Full exhale. Hold the breath. And just 10 seconds, you expand your ribcage. Lift your ribcage up. Relax. Inhale one more time. We want this vertical movement, up and down, up and down. Inhale, maybe a half portion. Relax your neck. Okay, that's enough, and that's something you can do before the dive. You can just warm up, then do a couple of those exercises. It allows you to feel the breathing muscles better and feel the pressure better. Let's do empty lungs, and if it feels intense, just one exhale. If you feel like you have more, you can actually do deeper exhale. Let's do 2 exhales. So exhale, pull your diaphragm. Then the second exhale, right? After a few seconds, there'll be more. Even if I try really hard to exhale on the first one, then it's still going to be more after 5 seconds. So just to demonstrate. So it's there is a reverse back technique which you start trying later, like wave 4. For now, like just a little bit extra exhale, that'll do. You'll have deeper exhale. Okay, just one exhale, it was too intense, or 2 exhales if you feel like you can do one more. All right, let's do it. Couple. When you're ready, do the third one or do another one. Let's start. Just think about softness. Every 5 seconds, do the body scan. Lower your ribs, lower the ribs, and upper rib cage. All right, recover breath. Very well. Great. How many did you do?
I lost count.
At
least 5.
Just 5. Okay. Ray did at least 5 and he was still full.
After buffet.
All right, let's repeat. One more, same, like or 1 exhale, or if it feels comfortable 2, don't push it. If it feels very uncomfortable, don't try to do 3. That doesn't make sense. Just do at least 2 or 3 body scans. So relax, body scan, become soft. Think about it being soft. You can visualize the pressure. Like you can visualize yourself at the bottom, at the ventimeters, and like think about this water pressure. Okay, let's do one more. Yeah, so it's 20 seconds, 15 seconds, maybe 30 seconds if you feel like you have really good relaxation. You don't need to push for a minute or long breath holds. It's just more, you think about it as stretching. You basically just get used to everything get pulled down, your vocal folds, your neck, your rib cage, diaphragm up, okay? So again, this exercise is very useful one, but it helps a lot. This is something that will help you with the mental state and like slowing for your desire to stop and turn. Like it's that you can't really avoid this exercise, right? It's getting used to the negative pressure. Like again, if you're really relaxed before the dive, if you did body scan before the dive really well, that will help as well. So you'll be already will be very relaxed. But remembering that you should not react to the pressure. And you should always get back to this relaxation position and just be more aware on the way down regularly. Just knowing this, remembering this will help, right? It's if you created your like proper inner state, relaxed state before the dive, it still can change. It might change because of a duck dive. It might change because of like kicking is too hard. Or like if it's breaststroke, you just use so much energy to do breaststroke. So remembering that even if you swim without fins, breaststroke, like you want to relax between the cycles. Like if you went through this positive buoyancy zone, then you still want to quickly do body scan and relax again. So always, like with equalization, always coming back your attention to your chest and doing body scan. That will help you not get into the situation when you react and get tense. Okay? All right.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
I'm just curious. If you do when you do your deeper dive, do you do like a body scan or you just zone out while doing the free fall?
A free fall. Why do you ask? You want to you want to know the secret? Okay.
I think you can tell us so no one's gonna crank at 1:30 tomorrow.
But maybe next year I come to the competition like you're
just peeing all the way down.
Yeah. And you're there with the camera like filming the bottle play. So there is a lot of, I would say, it's not one technique I do. It's not one way. Like different styles would make me think of different things on the way down. And with no fins, for example, I'm slower. I cannot kick easily like with fins. With fins, I can accelerate really easily. So with no fins, it's paying a little bit more attention to the body position, not being too tense, but being relatively streamlined. And equalization is easier with no fins, right? It's many meters less than monofin. So I don't really focus as much on the mouth feel. I don't focus as much on equalization. It's just there. I just try to rest and get ready for the way back. For other disciplines, there is much more focus on equalization, making sure I charge the mouth feel really well, and then the majority, like it's very long free fall. It's about a minute and a half after I charge my mouth feel to free fall. So equalization, rhythmic equalization helps. If you do rhythmic equalization and it happens at the same time, you don't do it with, you can equalize less frequent because of pressure. Pressure changes and you don't need to equalize as often. And there's two ways to do this. There is way where you equalize less frequent, and the portion is the same, for example, right? Or you equalize with the same frequency, but the portion is smaller and smaller and smaller. So I like to do this second approach where I equalize with the same frequency all the time, and the portion is smaller and smaller, less effort, but this rhythmic equalization helps to be in this meditative state. So rhythmic kicking, rhythmic equalization, rhythmic breathing when you prepare for the dive helps you to get into this meditative state, relaxation. So anything rhythmic, and you pay attention to these rhythmic movements, and it keeps your mind busy because you focus on proper equalization, and you don't. It's less chances you get distracted by something else, like a thought. And some thoughts can come and distract you, but then you go back, okay, like, what is my position? How do I equalize it? And you have this rhythm.
So how often do you equalize?
How
often do you then equalize?
For me, it's every, maybe 2 seconds. Every 2 seconds. Yeah, it's not less. Not less frequent. Not once.
So that makes an average 3 to 4 meters, basically.
No, my speed is 1 meter per second.
1 meter per second.
Yeah, so 2 meters. Yeah.
What you described earlier about that suction feeling at depth, that's my Achilles heel diving. I get to about 30, 35, and I get that feeling like being squeezed because of it.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to relax the larynx whilst holding mouthful. So how do you manage that between relaxing the holding mouthful, not solving it?
Your vocal folds, like holding your vocal folds closed, you want to understand the difference between the vocal folds and the tongue. It's very different, and sometimes we see this as the same area. Like, okay, I'll hold my mouth feel, or keep my. For Frenzel, we don't need to hold it. Like, we get the portion, we equalize. But still, there's a moment when we hold it. For example, if we equalize with the rhythm of 1 charge for Frenzel, 2 equalization. So you can think of what is your Frenzel rhythm as well. If you don't do mouth feel yet, with Frenzel, remember that it's 2-step technique. And the first step, recharging Frenzel, is really important, right? How do you recharge? If you're softer, you can recharge it better, right? You can recharge it with the gentle pushes, recharge it with the gentle grouper calls, but being aware of recharges, then there is a moment when you hold your vocal folds closed, maybe for a few seconds, maybe 5 seconds, but try not to do it longer, because if you use Frenzel to equalize for like 10 seconds, then it's likely you get stuck because you'll use the whole portion. It's better to recharge like more frequent. Like the rhythm can be 1-1, 1 recharge, 1 equalization, 1 charge, 1 equalization, or like 2-1, 2-1, maybe 3-1, 3-1. I think it's just like more than that. But try to think what works for you. But still, there is a moment, and with your vocal folds, you shouldn't feel like you're holding them. You don't think about mouthfeel or Frenzel as you hold something. You lock your vocal folds, but everything can be relaxed. Your tongue is relaxed, and try to lock your vocal folds now, and try to move your larynx up and down. And this range of motion, how freely you can move your larynx up and down, you can use your phone, your camera to feel it, you can use your arm as well to feel it. So if you have this, if you disconnected your vocal folds from your tongue, at depth it's closed, but you don't feel it as any like tension, holding. You just gently pull down. When you need to equalize, you push up. Gently pull down, you push up, right? And try now with different lung like volumes. Try with inhale, try with empty lungs as well. Empty lungs, close your vocal folds and move up and down your larynx. Think about closed larynx or closed vocal folds, but relaxed tongue. You can pull the larynx up like equalizing and relax your tongue, larynx goes down. So you have this freedom movement. Yeah. So if you feel like it's relaxed, there is movement. You engage your tongue when you need to equalize, but then you relax and you keep it closed. Then it's so much easier to equalize. And then vocal folds, you can keep them closed really easily, right? If you close your vocal folds, you can't really forcefully exhale through your closed vocal folds or inhale, right? You like inhale, you will not be able to force through, right? And the same with inhale. And there's no tension. You don't keep it doesn't feel hard to keep your vocal folds closed even if you try really hard to inhale, right? There is no effort. It's relaxed. So yeah, try to experience this sensation. Closed, locked vocal folds. You don't hold your mouth feel, you just lock it. Think about it like I'm not holding it, I'm locking my mouth feel, and everything is relaxed. And then it's easier. Okay.
As one of those annoying people that does everything intuitively, so I Frenzel and reverse back intuitively, do you recommend me trying to start paying attention how my reverse backing is, or as long as it goes, just to keep going? I'm currently at 30.
To go deeper, you will need to become aware of what's going on. It might break your, like, if you start thinking about it, you might experience some problems with equalization, but you will need to become aware to switch to mouth feel. So yeah, try to think about it, but not when you do deep dive. Try to think about it in shallow dives, 5 meter dive, 10 meter dive. So better with shallow dives.
Whenever you lose your rhythm or your relaxation, I obviously doing it beforehand, but when you lose it, is there any sort of routine or anything you go through to try and either reset yourself or reset your rhythm if it's ever lost?
So the question is what to do if you lost your relaxation, and the best way, first of all, you want to do everything to not to lose it proactively before you risk losing it, and to do that it's better to do the body scan, do the lung scan regularly. So if you do this regularly, it will be harder to lose your relaxation. Sometimes it's like an idea, something comes to your mind, then you become tense for a second, and you just refocus back to your present activity. What do? You kick, you equalize. So you need something that will help you to direct your attention. That's usually a rhythmic movement again. So come back with your mind to this, to kicking or to pulling or to equalizing, and then like the mindset when you dive. We want to focus really well on the present second, right? It's really important to think about what you do right now. That's why rhythmic movement helps, because you pay attention to each movement, each equalization, and it helps you to focus in this present second. Because if you think about like something like, will I be able to get back to the surface, and in the future, makes you tense. If you think about the past, how many meters I did, or like it's enough, during the breath hold, it was 3 minutes, that's enough. You don't think about your present state enough. So focusing attention on the present state, that's easier with the rhythmic movements. Okay.
Yeah, I want to come back to the beginning of the talk, not so fear and stuff like that, but more about motivation. So during training, sometimes if I want to do, for example, 50 meters or so, after 25 meters, I'm saying to myself, oh, why I'm doing this shit, and I cannot go up anymore. Or during static, so after 2 minutes, oh, that's so boring, let's stop it, and so. What could you do against these feelings?
Just change exercises, do something new. I think doing new exercises makes it fun. If you're bored doing the same thing, like just do something different style. Like there's monofin, there's bifin, there's no fins. So try something new, and then if you do more variety of different exercises, it'll be easier to come back to this first exercise. Then you just feel like, okay, I progressed. It's normal to feel bored, and do something new, like do new things, new exercises will help. Do like slow crawls with extra weight. You like try to do 25 meters as slow as possible. Like there's a lot of
walking with
walking with that, and yeah, something like that. And you can think about the quality of your inner state. If it's not your result, you can find a different goal. Like, okay, I'll try to just enjoy it as much as possible and do this 2 minutes or 3 minutes, but finish with no contraction. Maybe what can I do with zero contraction? How can I relax really well? Okay, let's now pay more attention to the techniques right before the dive. So we talked enough about approach, long-term approach, right? And we did a little bit of practice as well with our lungs and compression. That's as well something you want to do several times. It's not something you can do just once before the dive and it helps. But if now during this week you will do a few times in the morning, like empty lung stretches, like a stretch. Don't approach it as an exercise, not to be tired. A gentle stretch, and you will feel that you can transition this experience and get compressed easier at depth. But then when we approach a deeper dive or even warm-up dives, let's go through our body scan technique and attention demonstration technique. Attention demonstration will be covered more in the wave 3, but we'll just go through the basics for everyone. So I will do with you like visualization of your dive. What do you think before? Do you breathe up? Then where you pay attention when you free fall again. So we'll go through this again. Like not focusing on the rope very much, but just looking through the rope. So this attention, manipulation with your attentions, like really being focused and not allowing your attention to sort of like be distracted by something, by maybe lactate, maybe by waves or something, right? So there's a lot of things that can distract us. The more we practice, like approach it like a technique. So you direct your attention in certain areas, in cycles, many times, and if you do this regularly, it will be much faster. If it takes you, for example, now to calm down before the dive, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, with practice it will be much faster, with 2 minutes, 1 minute, right? So let's start with the body scan, and I will just pay attention to the most important areas. You can note them, you can practice them now, but also later before your dives. And we start with our face. You choose your own like perfect position in the water. I like to prepare for the dive in the vertical position. You can be in a horizontal position with a snorkel, whatever works best, like in the position on your back as well. But you want to feel, even before the dive, comfortable in your body, in your torso, in your rib cage. So this area of your lungs is the most important one. Face is a good starting point. So you start with the face, you relax your mimic muscles, your eye muscles. You can half close your eyes, and you can close them for a second, but learn how to be relaxed with half open, half closed eyes, right? Because if you close them, you will need to open them when you dive. If you open them, you can switch from relaxation, deep relaxation, and you open them like, oh, and you tense again because you see the world in the rope and you start to dive, right? So try to create this balanced, calm inner state with half open eyes, so you see everything and not much changes, like when you transition from closed eyes to open. Okay? It's when it's in static breath hold, when you don't move, it's easier because you don't move, but in dynamic we want to keep our eyes open, like to be positioned really well next to the rope, in the pool, not to lose the line. We had some cases in the World Championships and people lost the line and just threw to another line and get disqualified, right? So half shut eyes. Think about the muscles which turn your eyeball left, right, up, down. So there's these muscles, and to help you to feel these areas better, you can think of these areas as heavy, as warm, maybe whatever helps you. We have different things that help us to imagine, to feel relaxation. For someone, it's more around this sense of heaviness that helps. For someone else, it will be the temperature, sense of warmth that helps more. For another person, it might be like visualizing the light, like yellow light or white light. You just have something that helps you to pay attention, basically. So when we imagine this sensation, it helps us to pay attention. Then we go down to their cheeks, to the lips, and relax our face. Helps with our masks not to leak as well. If you're too tense in your face, like you have your mask will leak. If you really have soft face, it's good for relaxation. And then we go down to the neck, and first we scan just the muscles which is really easy to scan, our external muscles, like left side of the neck, right side of the neck, front, back, gentle head movements. Here, some cookies. And then you scan your tongue, starting from the tip of the tongue, and then you're going towards all the way to your vocal folds, to the root of the tongue, and imagine that it's heavy and relaxed. And your larynx is mobile, it moves up and down easily. Lower position is usually better. You want to find this comfortable lower position of the larynx. Before the dive, when you breathe, so you can use some sounds to help you find this position. Maybe it's M, like a very like soft. You don't need to say it loudly, but like, and if it's a chest sound, like deep chest sound, then it's correct. Because, like if you have tension in your neck, the sound will be higher. Right? That says that there is tension. There is this tradition with the Japanese ama woman, right, to sing before the dive, and it's something they use for recovery. We don't have it in freediving much. You can do this without sound, like it can be like a sigh, deep sigh. But again, training every time, every dive, every warm-up dive. So in one session, you have up to 10 cycles of go and doing the body scan, relaxing your neck, relaxing your tongue. Then you have this volume, and in a couple of trainings, in 1 week, or like over the year, and you can do the same for pool as well. In the pool, sometimes we have short rest, we don't have time for this. But if you have longer dives, again, you go through, again, face, neck, you just do it faster, because you practice every time. And then you'll be able to get from like normal state to this really deep relaxation state, like in less than a minute. Right? After the neck, we go to our shoulder blades, shoulders and heavy shoulder blades. Just drop them. Check your back of your lungs, so there's no tension. You just find optimal posture, right? And something that is enough to keep the posture, one posture on land, another posture in the water, vertical, horizontal, on the belly, on the back. You get used to these positions. And then chest and belly. And chest and belly, I would recommend to pay more attention to this area, and you can stay here. Actually, this is the area you can stay longer. Like lower your sternum. And if you need deeper inhales, if you're not comfortable yet with tidal breathing, like super shallow breathing, do a bit deeper breathing as well, but just very slow, very soft. If you're already comfortable with tidal breathing, it's only belly which moves, right? And think about the rhythm. So again, the rhythm here, something that helps. Feel this rhythm. Every 5 seconds, every 4 seconds, there is a cycle. And the main idea before the dive you want to create the state, inner state of resting. You don't prepare for the dive. You rest, and you get into the state of resting and being comfortable with not breathing. So you inhale, you exhale, and after exhale, 1 second, maybe 2 second pause, rest. And you want to feel comfortable, like you don't even need to breathe. Pause and you rest. So we do it now, you do it in the water. In the water just can be a little bit deeper inhale. If it's with snorkel, it's a little bit deeper because we have dead space in the snorkel. We don't want to hyperventilate too much, but we can ventilate according to our needs. And that's your inner state before the dive. Rested, being rested. And you memorize how it feels with a soft rib cage. And if you did the body scan and you have better ability to maintain your attention in your rib cage, breathing muscles, then it'll be easier to again get back to the state after the duck dive, after the mouth feel, for those who do mouth feel, after frenzel. So you know how it should feel, so you get back to the state easier and faster, right? And during the warm-up dives, and tomorrow, also try do that, preparation, like with more attention to the breathing muscles, to the chest. Try to do this like 0.5 centimeter, 1 centimeter drop of the sternum. And then when you dive, so think about sternum, diaphragm, belly, soft belly, but chest I would say is like this most important area because that's where we have this resistance. So every 5 meters, you equalize a few times and then drop your sternum. Then again, 5 meters, few equalizations, sternum. And then you do it regularly, it becomes a habit, and then you will not get pressure. If you don't get the pressure, it feels comfortable. Equalization is easier, everything is easier, then you do everything correctly. Right? Okay, so that's the exercise technique which solves for like tensions, resistance. This tension will create all sorts of mental blocks and problems. You might feel like, oh, it's just the pressure is crushing me or something, right? So that's an important area. Okay, all good with body scan, something that you probably practice already a lot, just with some extra little details on the sternum, on their lower position of their larynx. So these are the details, like practice that, okay? And one idea about your lungs, it's not something we have yet in the manuals, but I think we'll slowly like change it in the manuals because previously pressure compensation-wise, we usually talk about our sinuses, ears, etc. And the common knowledge is that we don't really compensate our lungs pressure, and we don't have any external air to do that. But in a way, lowering your rib cage, so we want to change it that there is like technique of lung compensation, right? So we compensate pressure in the lungs by removing this expansion of the rib cage, like making sure we don't do that, because if we do that, we're a bit more in the negative. So we are not compensated enough. So if you let go, if you let your diaphragm be pulled in, your vocal folds being pulled down, your lungs are more compensated. You're closer to the neutral pressure. And if you resist, you're further from neutral pressure. So there is this technique and this concept of lung compensation, right? It's a new concept, but we'll introduce it into the manuals. Okay? Did you visualize lung compensation, everything? So you can become more aware of your lungs and think, am I like relaxed enough so the pressure is neutral? You want to get to this neutral pressure. And we don't need to be like afraid of being crushed or anything. Like if we're 10 meters, our lungs will need to be compressed 2 times. They will not be compressed 10 times, right? They will need to be compressed 2 times. So we can just, I think subconsciously might have a worry that if we let go, that's one of the ideas you can think about. Do you have maybe like a fear or like a worry that if you let go, you'll be crushed, like flattened, like in cartoons or something. So it can be like this idea that can stop you from letting go. But we need to basically we need to trust the laws of physics. The laws of physics say 10 meters, it should be compressed 2 times, not more. So just let go, don't make it harder for everybody to adapt to this depth. Same for 20 meters, 30 meters. If you resist, you make it harder for everyone, right? For yourself. And if you don't resist, it's just easier.
I wasn't worried about it before.
Now you're worried, right? Okay.
I'm a little worried of when I turn, of not turning softly enough and like injuring myself. Not because I'm being crushed, but because I'm like...
Because of jerky movement? Or
yeah, which I try to stay very...
Yeah, well, if you don't do it super fast, if you do this with a normal speed, you stretch your arm, you pull. If you like accelerate, like we don't do that. But if you don't want to be scared to like almost not move, right, with the tiny, tiny movements. You can, if you have enough flexibility, you don't need to stretch super far, right? But you can straighten your arm and pull normally. You can see that in competition, guys, like some will do tiny pulls, but most of the time, there is no. It's very hard to do that and not get monarched and not get not really effective performance. Because if you think about, okay, I will do 10 meters of tiny pulls or little kicks, or I will not get my arms in arrow position with a monofin or bifins at great depth, because of narcosis, you will not be able to do this in 10 meters. You'll forget. Maybe you will do this 60 meters later, 50 meters later. So narcosis doesn't allow you to do these variations really. So you turn and you go right away with normal technique. That's the best way, because otherwise you'll be sort of, everything at depth feels different time-wise. You might feel like you're there for 2 seconds. So there was a moment when time was like, for you it seems very like short period, but then you look at the watch and it was 5 times longer or something. One time I get stuck with a lanyard and I was untangling my lanyard 90 meters, no fins, no fins. And I was like, hey, what do I do? Like I basically reached out and I think it was a old tennis ball or something, so I get stuck on the tennis ball. So I just moved it, I got it out, and it felt like 5 seconds. I'm like, what? Okay, but then I checked, it was 20 seconds. And I think I was doing something. So it's like 4 times longer. Yeah. So you don't want, if there is no chance to really change the technique for super deep dives, there's no point really to do this shallow dives. You don't want to accelerate, you don't want to do jerky movements, you want to be soft. If you're soft, you do a gentle first pull and just go to the normal technique. And in general, technique-wise, it's more beneficial if you compare, like if you talk about free immersion, if you compare like a real stretch, trying to reach as far as possible, and like pull, really try to get the longest possible pull and compare this with a bit shorter pull, like not trying to reach super far, but with a bit more frequency, and less effort. So there is in general, it's better hypoxia-wise to have less effort and a bit more frequency. So you balance it out, like less effort, maybe not as much of a stretch, and just a bit more frequency, and that's usually like optimal.
Would you say that this is also true with the fins?
Also true with fins, yeah. Instead of kicking really hard, you kick lighter with more frequency, so it feels like you almost do nothing. And then it's better. The dive is faster, it's easier, and you disrupt your blood shift less. Because if you do really powerful kicks, pulls, then it's harder for your body to keep the blood shift. Yeah. So sort of like pull away the blood from your center. If you kick really hard, you make it harder, and hypoxia is stronger.
I have a question about, I guess it's about like relaxation. So I, sometimes when I'm diving, when I get a deeper dive, like if I'm doing like something 70 to 80, numerous times I've like, can only describe it as like falling asleep. And where like one time the stopper hit me on the nose and like startled me, one time the lanyard stopped. And now I set an alarm like 3 or 4 minutes before that, so that it kind of like gets me ready. But is there a danger? Because I feel like I've described this to other people and I'm like, yeah, that doesn't sound safe. But is there like a danger during the free fall? Because I have constant pressure too, so there's nothing like that.
No rhythm.
About. Yeah. Is there, what is that? Is there a danger? Is that dangerous? Am I falling asleep?
No. You can. Well, if you do constant pressure, maybe every 5 seconds, 10 seconds, you can feel rhythm. You just gently kick with your fins, or if you do free immersion, just have something rhythmic. If you're okay free falling, I would set the alarm 10 meters before, not 3. So 10 meters allow you slowly to get closer to the rope, get your hand ready for the turn, open your eyes. 3 is too short. With 3, it's like immediately, you need to turn immediately. 10 is nice. So sometimes I even do 15, but 10, you hear the alarm, and then you immediately get to the rope. It's 10 seconds, but again, because of depth, it flies faster. And then you can start stopping yourself. Like you can, and it's really helpful that there's candy cane. In competition, there's candy cane. So you can see the candy cane 3 meters before their bottom plate.
Yeah, that's other things that have I don't wear any goggles or a mask.
I don't wear goggles as well, but you see the rope is white, and then there's, you can open them. You can open them. You have the light.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So there's little adjustments like light. You want to see underwater even without mask or goggles, and then you will see okay there's candy cane, and then you will turn gently.
So it's not like, because I was training with somebody, and maybe it's because he was my safety, and he just was like, but he was like, yeah, don't do that. Like, you should. He's like trying to think of something, or like open your eyes and look at the line, so you're not like zoning. I don't know.
It's totally safe to zone out when you free fall. You just want to, you don't want to be surprised and hang on your lanyard when you stop.
Yeah, just don't forget your lanyard.
Yeah. You want to have. Also, if you don't look at the rope, as soon as you feel alarm, you can touch the rope, and maybe you have you can put there a few, like a little zone, like a candy cane, and then you feel the candy cane with your arm.
Yeah.
So you can have like 5 or 10 like zones. Okay.
I think I'm maybe kind of the same. So when I dive, I can't think anything. Even when I breathe up, I can't think anything. I'm very aware of my body and my how my body feels, or I can feel tension or pressure, but I can't think. And sometimes I realize then that maybe other people, they think a lot about what to do and everything, and I was like, okay, actually, to be honest, I can't think anything. I do what I want to do, but it's not like technically think about something. It's more like I just do it and I feel like it feels.
You focus on the feeling, you focus on your
I don't
sensations.
know if I'm really concentrated or not concentrated at all, but I'm really focused.
That's good. See, if you don't have this, if you don't have this, it's good. You want to be like in this, like in a flow, like it's almost should feel like a flow, and thinking about something rhythmic helps. If you feel like you can be in this, it feels like a flow without rhythmic movements, without visualization. It's good. It's good as well, and there's no danger to it. Just you need to be still aware. Where are you? How deep are you? When to turn? So changing this a little bit to not to have sudden tension because you turn too quickly or something. Okay, let's practice our attention to concentration, like simplified. How do we do this? And we'll combine it with tidal breathing and a small breath hold. So tidal breathing, preparation phase, it doesn't need to be tidal breathing, it can be like a little bit deeper cycles if you feel comfortable with a slightly deeper, slightly longer cycles. And the goal will be to get ready for your phase before the dive next to the buoy. And when you can visualize, you can think about how will you focus tomorrow your eyes, what will be your eyes position tomorrow for the position next to the buoy and next to the rope, right? So the attention to concentration, we just do the visual part, and we want to learn the technique how to stop focusing on objects, like look at the buoy, look at the rope, and still see everything, be able to position our body, be next to the rope, next to the buoy, do the duck dive in the right direction, but not being focused. So when we're not focused, it's easier for our nervous system, we're calmer, we're more relaxed. As soon as we have focus, we're a bit more tense, right? So this, being in a resting state, because we stop focusing, that is really helpful to be more relaxed. To do that, we, in our situation, being next to the buoy and to the rope, we find this virtual focus point beyond the buoy or beyond the rope, so something like 1 meter or 2 meters further. And here you can, if you sit, you can try to maybe find this virtual focus point close to someone in front of you, or a little bit further than someone who sits in front of you, like 3 meters, 2-3 meters. So there's a virtual point, and you look at this point, and rest your eyes. You need to memorize this eye position. So it's a different eye position. It's static. It's more static. We don't want to get distracted when we turn our head a little bit. Try to not get distracted by objects. It's really easy to get distracted by objects when we turn our head underwater. Maybe the rope. We like focus on the rope, or there is a buoy. So we always, our attention, we're used to focusing on objects, and we want to stop doing this by memorizing and keeping our eyes in the static position, half open. They don't need to be full open, half open eyes. So keep your eyes in this virtual point. Breathe in a way how you prepare for the dive. Check if you will get distracted if, for example, there is a rope in front of you, so you can put your arm in front of you. Like, just put your arm and make sure it's blurry. You still keep looking beyond your arm. Your arm is like 30, 40 centimeters in front of you, like the rope is. And you move it and you don't get distracted by the arm, you still look a little bit beyond your arm, like a meter, 2 meters up after the arm. So keep your eyes relaxed in the same static position. If it works, great. And now we'll do a short breath hold. Gentle inhale, maybe 50%, maybe 70%. Hold the breath. And keep your eyes open still. And turn your head a little bit left and right. The goal is to memorize eyes position. If you get distracted, if you focus on something, fine. Just get back to this virtual point. Find this virtual point again, and memorize this position and these muscles, eye muscles. What is the position which is most comfortable, which you can keep during a few minutes of preparation, during the dive. Okay. Hold. When you want to stop, breathe again. Did it work with the arm? Were you able to not focus on the arm? Okay. So same with the rope and the buoy, right? There is a buoy in front of us, there is a rope in front of us. So this one technique that I wanted to try tomorrow, like one of the most important one, even I would say more important than tidal breathing. This is something you already practiced a lot. If you did attention concentration before already, just make sure it's stable. If it's the first time you're doing this, just play with this focus point. If you did it before, just make sure you don't forget to do. Sometimes we know the technique, we practice it in lectures, and then we don't really apply it. We don't do this in the water, right? So do that and compare your state when you have time. Like it can be closer to neutral buoyancy. When you kick, maybe you're busy with the equalization and kicking. But as soon as you reach this neutral buoyancy or close to neutral buoyancy, you're more relaxed, you kick less. So then check what's going on with your attention to concentration. How is your nervous system? And check what's the difference between focusing on the rope and then defocusing. You feel like when you hold your breath, you feel this less on the surface because you breathe. But when you hold the breath, you feel this more. Like when you defocus, there's less processing of information. You're just allow your nervous system to be more relaxed, and you don't prioritize any more visual channel information coming from vision. There's a bit of information for you to position yourself well, but not too much. Right? And then naturally you'll pay more attention to their inner, like to the sensations.
I normally close my eyes fully for a dive. Is that like
I would still recommend, if you close your eyes, it's a good practice to relax really deeply, but it's much more useful to learn the same inner state and deep relaxation with the half open eyes. You don't need to fully open them, but half. It's just more useful because you can apply the same relaxation to other types of diving. If you do fun diving, you feel something, your state is better, more relaxed.
So you're not, like your focus is not the rope, it's beyond?
It's beyond the rope, yeah. And also if you have your eyes open, you can position yourself better. You can position yourself well with your hand on the rope as well. But that's something that slows you down, right? So if you free fall, if you have your hand on the rope, then that'll be not as fast, not as good a position than if you free fall without touching the rope. But to do that, you need to have your eyes open. Otherwise, you'll pull in a lanyard, you'll become slower. Yeah.
So if you're on your ascent and you're in this state of looking just at the rope and or looking through the rope, let's say this way, and then your safety comes into your vision, should you react to the safety or just go up?
You just go up, and usually it is more it's a more distraction if safety are right in front of you, and it's not usually doesn't feel as nice. I usually ask them to be like away.
Okay, just concentrate on your
yeah. I think coaches and instructors, I think everyone, like when they feel how they affect, like if you talk about not competition but students, if instructor or coach like is right, if it's a deep dive, if it's a shallow dive, if it's something like first steps, then it's less important. If it's a deep dive, it's better not to be in front of the diver and like try to like look at his eyes, because you sort of like you distract him.
So also as a safety, you watch the diver from the side and not directly.
Yeah, it's better to be a little bit on the side, yeah, not
Or
directly.
to talk between the safety and the dive, because I like to see my safety, especially if it's a deep dive and maybe
You
I'm
can
not
see them
fully-
on the side, but you don't want them in front of you, like, and it makes you
I
distracted.
would like to be in their arms, ideally.
In the arms. If you are in their arms, you just black out, and you are in the arms. You're like okay. All worked with the attention, with a little practice of attention concentration. Try that tomorrow with the rope. So we talked a lot about long-term preparation to feel more comfortable, to have less worries and potential for anxiety and fears. Short-term, that's body scan, that's attention to concentration. So do that. Don't forget that. It doesn't need to be complicated. It's very simple. Few very simple techniques that work the best, right? So body scan, high importance, defocusing, even the first step of attention to concentration, like vision field, is really, really helpful. Okay, and rhythmic, regular body scan on the way down. I think that's a takeaway, an important takeaway for today. Remember it. Keep a note. Make a note for yourself, like your thoughts about your dives. What do you want to solve? What are your worries? What are your fears? So you have this note which you will look, and then you will design your training session when you're back home as well, like a homework. What do you need to work on? Do you need to work on empty lungs, like we did today? More, and just write some thoughts there. Like it could be like a little note with like 5 thoughts or 10 thoughts, something you can revisit, update it, and which reminds you what to do when you prepare for the dive, right? And, rhythmic, regular, every 5 meters body scan on the way down. That's something. It's a very, very good habit. You're free falling. Okay. Let's do it.